Hey, welcome to the Hired AV podcast. My name is Joe Way, and I am your host. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. We have someone that you all know, and I'm really excited about this show because you know that I love talking future. I love talking solutions, and also I have one of my favorite people on earth here on the show. We had some incredible sushi together just about a week or so ago on a quick trip down to Orange County with the one and only Jay Regina joining us too on Jay's birthday, which was kind of nice. So it was a good surprise. Anyway, people know who this is because I always like to. I remember I always just say, "And welcome to the show," but you get to read the titles. You actually know who's on the show. But that being said, I'm still going to have Sahil introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you do.
Good morning, everyone, or maybe good afternoon to a few people. My name is Sahil. I'm the co-founder of XTEN-AV. Just in case you don't know me, you probably know XTEN-AV. I think a lot of you already are using it, and thank you for all the love, all the support you've given us and our company all these years. You make us better every day. And thank you, Joe, for having me here today.
Of course, my pleasure. So, give me really quick. Just let's pretend people don't know what Exton is. Give the 2 minute pitch. What is the product itself?
Okay, so there you go. So X10AV is one-stop solution, one platform, all cloud-based that uses AI. I'm not kidding. It's real AI.
We're going to get into that.
We'll get into that, yeah. And you can do all of your AV designs. You can do quotes, RFPs, and manage that project once it's ready. Once you start with installs and everything, all on the same platform. All these three modules that on the same platform, they all talk to each other. And it's got more. It's got like digital signatures, tracking of every document, collaboration. So you don't even need to get out of the software to do things. So everything's just in here, which honestly no other software in the industry provides. So we're kind of like in a very unique spot. And the kind of love we've gotten from higher ed, because honestly, what we talked to a lot of higher ed people, and all these years they felt like that they didn't have a voice. Nobody heard what they wanted, and once they found our software, like there was just no stopping.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, going back to software. So we use AI to automatically generate your drawings. So just put your equipment list together, and it will just do everything else for you. It will get you there, I would say 90%. And then you just fill the gaps, do the rest, because we still want to keep jobs. We still want the human touch. To be precise, we want machines to help us, not replace us.
Yep. Yep.
So that's what we're trying to do.
And I love that. And because one of the things that I love about the software is that it just takes away the menial tasks, right? You still get the ability to personalize. Everyone has their own kind of unique take on how they do their classrooms and their learning environments and stuff. But it gives me the, hey, load in my kind of standards, how this is. You put it together, you push the stuff out. I send that off to the facilities team for their construction. I send that off to hand that over to my install team, and it just makes it easier. My favorite part, though, but we're going to save product stuff for later. But my favorite part is the documentation. Everyone knows I'm a big documentation guy, and of course, anytime you can wear VR glasses is also a thing. So all right, you have this platform that you've built that touches so many points. When you're talking to customers, because everyone knows, I mean, you have a booth. I think we just travel around and we follow each other around the world because I see you everywhere. You see me everywhere. But customers are walking up to you, both higher ed and non-higher ed.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things they're telling you is the need?
So one is, which is sounds menial these days, is people are sick and tired of having any on-prem solution. They're tired of having that software installed in a particular machine, and whenever they want to do something, they have to make sure that their computer has to be with them, and it's just a pain. People want, where we are these days with, look what technology has given us. The least we could do is just be able to log in from anywhere, from any device, right, and just continue our work.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it sounds very menial these days, but it has been a big problem for people. And then from day one, we've been completely on the cloud. So that was one. The second was there was no standardization. There's everyone's just doing their own thing. People who are new to the industry, they have no particular way of learning. There was no way of maintaining a documentation for the entire project. So we standardize all that. We put it all on the cloud, and our systems talk to each other. Um, on top of that, you could do when you do your designs, you can do however you want it. You could do it as manual as you want. You can have AI do most of it, and then you fill in the rest. So that saves a lot of time. Now,
Hmm.
most this is surprising. Okay, for maybe for some higher ed people might not know this, but when it comes to integrators, so the biggest problem, so non-higher ed people, the biggest problem they have had all these years is not lack of work. They actually have too many jobs to bid on. They
Hmm.
have to turn away 50% of the work because they just can't bid on everything. Now, using our software, they can bid on more. So,
Mm. I
there's
love that.
work out there. So the more you can bid, the more you can do. So
Well,
that's been a big problem.
see, I love that because I also think that a lot of like when we do things. First off, everyone knows I'm a business person, so anytime you bring that up, I'm gonna love it. But I think one of the things to me is if I have to do things in scale, which is really what you're talking about, right? Even if you're looking at an integrator, yeah, I want to get this bid out, I want to get this job out, I got to do, right? It's really hard to look at an RFP. Like for example, when I send out an RFP, I mean, I think the RFI for the first part had like 41 questions, and then my second one has like 30 questions. Like that's a lot to go through. So if you can kind of take those high level things and go, here, I'm going to spit out some drawings with this, and knowing that it's just the start of the conversation, we're going to work on the rest of it later, right? And that's kind of transitioning that, into the higher ed people. One of the biggest trends is looking at things at scale, which is interesting that I'm seeing that change because we've always been at scale. We've always had hundreds of rooms on our campuses, but we always had a smaller mindset of that kind of one single room. We're just going to standardize. But now it's like, I got to manage in scale. I got to know my user. I got to know my uptime. I got to know all these things. So since I'm supporting in scale, I have to design in scale.
Correct.
Right. And I think that really is one of the big changes. Are you kind of seeing those same things too?
Yes, totally. Yeah. For schools that are decent size, especially, yes, you want more control in your hands and rely less on the outside parties. And then, yeah, that is definitely a trend.
Yeah. So now, all right, I have to get into it because I don't think you're allowed to put a product out nowadays without writing the words AI on it. I think that's the rules. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's like marketing PR 101 right now. But you were saying AI years ago before it was ever anything. So talk about. I want to get a little bit into the technical. One, when you say it, what do you mean? Because I know it's not marketing because you were one of the first to do it before it was the hot thing, right?
Right.
How did you actually leverage it? How are your models working? Can it dig into the stuff for me?
Yeah. So years ago, when we first launched, we did use some AI in our software. It's of course not what we're doing now because AI was very different back then. Especially like I think what AI has become since ChatGPT is very different than what it was before that. For on that scale that we're seeing now. So we had rule-based AI before that, which is AI, but it's not what we have now. So it wasn't generative. So it will there's a whole set of rules internally in the algorithms, and then it will just function based on those. So it's like pinball, and we'll just direct where the pinball will go based on what we want. So it was that. So like our searches algorithms and the questionnaire method of doing designs. It was AI, but outdated AI, I would say. The So now what the AI we have is it's based on generative AI. So basically, first is what we're working on is LLM, large language model, and where you can talk to the system as if you're talking to a human, right?
Hmm.
It understands everything. It's not like one prompt is here and there, and the system will just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's not. It actually talks smarter than a lot of humans, right? Right. So
I mean,
so
that doesn't say a lot. I've met a lot of humans. Just kidding.
yeah. So and then there's the drawings part of it, which is amazing because we use this technology, GNN, graphic neural networks, as part of AI models. So we have our own AI model for generating the drawing because it's not that simple. We have so many types of equipment, so many brands, so many models, and then they all have different ports, different connectors, and the AV industry is not as standard as it should be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Still, all manufacturers are doing their own thing, and it's very hard for a software like us to kind of like have manage everything into put everything in one bucket. That this every DSP will be connected this way, every switcher will be this way. It's not,
Hmm.
so that's why we need AI, because if things are so simple, AI wouldn't be needed, but they're not. So we have trained our algorithm with hundreds and thousands of designs, and still testing it, iterating it, and fixing it. So it's generative. It generates stuff for you that you did not know about.
I
So
love that.
it's different. Yeah.
I love that. So, um, and I just want to go because this is a conversation, the kind of the back channels of higher ed people a lot is that inconsistency or between manufacturers, or we all want the magic, interoperability. Are you seeing trends there? Because you're the ones who's creating all the modules and stuff to talk to them and create the like. Are you seeing any shifts in our industry? Are manufacturers just saying nope, I'm my thing and my thing, or are they thinking about it? What are you seeing?
Manufacturers are trying to standardize things, like they're trying to move everything on the network or the cloud. But I think it's still gonna take a little longer than we would want. But everyone's moving in the direction that they should. That's what I feel.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, that's positive that that's happening, you know, um, because I think that is one of the hardest things. I think, especially, a lot of departments, might only be one or two tech people, and they're having to do everything, and they're having to manage all this stuff, and they're having to maybe design. Some of them have to do their own installs, right? Just the way budgets work and all that stuff. So I think being able to have that way of saying, hey, I need people to play well and play in the same sandbox, right? And I think that is one of the needs. Which is also why I kind of like having a tool that allows me to do that, right? If the manufacturers don't do that, and I agree, I think they're at least conscious of it. What tool can I use that can help me with that and do that, right?
Right.
Um, so share this with me. I remember was it probably ISE 2 years ago or so, walking up to your booth, and you were the first one that had the glasses. You had VR glasses.
That is correct.
One, how are you seeing that trend, and especially can you give some customer success stories? Because I've heard this, and you know Chi, my Chi,
Right.
he loves doing 3D modeling of rooms and walking customers through it. How are you seeing that, and are you seeing VR actually take like you thought when you first introduced that a couple years ago?
Right. So I think VR was very trendy a couple of years ago, and we got into it as well. Um, but like I said, since ChatGPT, there cannot be two trends with the same pace in the market simultaneously. So
Mm-hmm.
AI kind of took over everyone's mind, and then it's not that the a VR is bad or it's gone away. It's not that, but I think AI is just something people are more interested in because everyone can get access to it, like ChatGPT, free. and
Hmm.
it's actually doing things for you day in, day out, right? So everyone's just diverted there. Um, VR, the biggest, I mean, okay, I'm not anti VR. I love VR. The biggest problem is this generation VR headsets. I mean, you gotta put the headset on, walk around with it. There's cables like Apple Vision Pro, right?
Hmm.
Great product, not the best seller, right? And that's
Hmm.
probably the first Apple product that did not sell as they expected, right?
Hmm.
Because it's bulky, it needs a big battery, and then there's a cable running down. You put that in your pocket. And another thing with, I don't know how much you played with VR. I mean, I'm sure you have, but our audience who are listening, I don't know how much you guys have played with those headsets. After a few minutes, you start to feel you got too much weight on your head, and you start to get a little headache or dizzy. So it's just one of those things where it just gets better with time. So I think the technology is gonna get better with time. Like example, what Meta is doing with the Ray-Ban glasses now. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the future they're looking at is getting rid of those bulky glasses and just have everything in those Ray-Ban headsets.
Hmm.
When that happens, I think VR is really gonna take off because it's
Yeah.
just very portable, right? It's
Yeah.
just glasses. We all wear glasses, right? So I think that is moving the right direction, and that is the time we're going to see things really take off.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do believe that, and I think you nailed it completely. The big, bulky, while it's cool and it has its thing, and it might be great for your home, right? If you want to play VR golf, right? It works out great now that you're a golfer, and golf. We play some VR golf together. But I think in real life, out on the street, it's got to be more of an augmented reality. It's got to be a standard glasses that don't make you look weird, right? That you can interact with the regular world at the same time, but collect information, share information via it. And that's where I actually imagine like taking your stuff, or like I take a customer into, sorry, yes, I call our faculty and those customers. So I take one of my customers into a classroom that we want to upgrade.
Mhm.
It might look crappy right now, but if I can put those glasses on it and then say, okay, scan the room and they can see the old into the new, that would be pretty amazing. And here's where this is going to go. And you can actually visualize it in that real space, right? Where, while I love 3D modeling, it can be cartoony.
Yeah,
And while we do know how to, oh, yeah, I picture that this will be picture to be here, I think when we can actually step into the real space, I don't need to, measure out the wall and say, okay, pretend this is here and this is, I'll do a fake pattern for this flooring or whatever. I can go, here's the space. I'm going to now click the button and now you can see, here's the lectern in this space. Here's the screen in this space, right? I think that's, and then be able to move it around. Oh, no, let's move this here. Let's move this here. Now hit it. Now draw my line drawings off what we just agreed, all sitting there in the same room, right? That's where I think there's a possibility, and hopefully we get there. There you go. There's your next $1 million idea, unless you're probably already working on it because you've been ahead of times all the time. But
yeah. So a lot of that we already, I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot of it we already do with Xverse or
mm-hmm,
your technology. So you kind of model your 3D room. And when it's done, you get the documentation, your line drawings and cable schedule and your rack elevation, everything. You still get all those 2D documents generated for you automatically. So it's great. So what happens with technology, as we all have witnessed with time, that it's great when something is new out there, like VR headsets. It's great when you just immerse yourself in that. You see a new world. Great, but to use it day to day life in your work, it gets a little tiring. And then you just go back to doing things the way you were.
yep,
So that it's just a phase, until technology becomes so easy to use that, that initial uh, period, like, oh, putting on the glasses, turning it on, and then adjusting it. And then, you know, it makes people, tired. They're like, you know what, I could just quickly knock something out on my computer like I used to. So, same way, I think with computers, were introduced or the softwares, people were like, this is too much for me to learn. I'll just quickly do it with a pen and paper, you know? So it's always that transition. So we're in that transition right now with the VR technology, I believe.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And I love it. I think there's just so much opportunity, and I love that you're kind of on that forward thinking mode. Question for you: Is it like so? Let's say how besides it makes sense for the software to do like our physical stuff and our physical drawings. How does it relate for then like our cloud services and those types of things as well and sync in? Because as we move to like let's say I got Zoom, how do you still work with that, and how do people know how to put those in or whatever? Because I think as we're starting to see LMS integrations and those types of things is probably the trend, right? Trend to cloud. How are you moving with that trend, and how can that impact me?
How are we moving with the cloud?
Yeah, like as far as like if I'm, I always look at. So here's a fun thing. When I did this back at SC, I had like we did some virtual control in the cloud. We did a bunch of stuff like that. So our line drawings were basically just a bunch of little clouds. It's like,
Oh,
So, talk to me on how I can leverage your stuff to be able to still integrate and tell everybody this is how the whole system is going to work, and not just connecting transmitter to receiver, etc.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot when those drawings get generated. I mean, we show each connector that is on the physical device, each port, and we also when we auto connect everything for you, we also generate your cable IDs based on your standards. So when you actually going to connect devices, you know from which device that cable is going to run from which port to which device, which port, and that you're going to print those cable labels that we generate for you, and you're going to organize it that way. And then we're going to give you all the documentation so you have all that in one place. And after that, after you do the install, we also have asset management.
Oh yes, yes.
So so you kind of keep a track of all of your assets. You can put in your Mac address, your IP address, your any credentials, all of that. You can save all that. So even if you want to come back and do any maintenance or service work, you don't have to try to find how to log into this device, where's this device located, and everything. You just pull up that documentation from your X10
Hmm.
repository, and you have quick access to that as well.
So all right, you made me think of, and the answer might be no, but I have to know. Okay, so you get data like are you do you get the data of like the most popular connections? Like is USB-C really as popular as people think, or is it still an HDMI world, or is it a PoE world? Like, or maybe you know that from talking to customers. Do you get those? Like, where do you get where those trends are going?
Which are the most
The
trending?
most popular like connection types. Like, do you spit that out? I mean, it might not be no, but that I'm sitting here going, you've got all this data.
I
I
mean,
mean, manufacturers would love that data.
sure, we should have that data. I can ask my team to pull that up. That's interesting, actually. I never thought of that. Which is,
Like I look at it this way: you've got all these designs,
yeah,
you've got data.
yeah,
Imagine a manufacturer going, you could go, hey, by the way, USB-C drawings, to that port has increased by 20% over the last year. A manufacturer might want to know that when they're creating devices. Look at that. There's some money right there for you. I'll take my percentage on that one. No, but you know what I mean? Like that would be very interesting because
you're right.
you have a very unique place where you sit to be able to see, okay, where are things going? How many things are being moved to, you know, you know, a streaming device or a UC device, right? Are we using USB cameras? Or are we using PoE cam? Like, it would be very interesting because you can pull that even without giving away customer details.
Yeah, yeah,
You're positioned to see major trends.
yeah. I mean, when we talk about trend, I mean, it doesn't. We don't talk about customer anyway. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
the whole large data set. But that's interesting. I mean, even if I don't want to sell that info, it's great for people to know,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
absolutely.
So how we're moving from HDMI's to USB-C, or USB 2.0 to USB-C. But yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. There now, I've got your next thing. So we'll see that now. Now, if I see that at Infocom, I better have a idea by Joe Way, right? Little plaque right next to it.
I'll let you pick a Lambo or an idea by Joe Way.
Oh, if that were the choices, I'll be up in San Francisco this weekend to go pick up my Lambo. No, all right. So speaking of Infocom, because I do want to jump to that. Well, you got a few things. We're doing a webinar coming up in on May 20th. On May 20th, we're doing a webinar to kind of jump into some of the details that we've talked about today. So everyone, the link to sign up will be here. So check the show notes, and there's the link to sign up to the webinar we're going to be doing. Also, there is a link to get a free trial of XTEN as well and book a meeting with Sahil. So make sure you click both of those links. But we're going to kind of dig into some of the nuts and bolts and kind of show some future stuff. We're going to show how to use it, how it can be effective, and get a few different use cases going. So make sure on Tuesday the 20th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, somewhere late afternoon, evening in Europe. There you go, and who knows what time in Asia. But 10 a.m. Pacific, the Tuesday, the 20th of May. Click that. We're going to talk about some great stuff there, and some use cases, and jump into some nuts and bolts. Priming for Infocom. So we only have 5,000 people listening. So just break some news on us that you want to keep quiet because it's only us. I mean, I don't have none. You know what I mean? No one. Yeah. So what we have a couple things happening in Infocom. What's the first big thing that's happening?
Okay. So we're gonna do something big for Infocom, and we're gonna do now, since this is we're talking in a closed, contained environment.
No one. It's just you and I. No one's listening. The other 5,000 people have tuned out by now.
So it's only 5,002 people here. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna do some big things that we're gonna show at Infocom, but some of you are going to get a special invite for the evening before Infocom.
Tuesday night.
June yeah. So that's what, June the 10th, right?
June 10th. Yep. Tuesday night.
Where we're gonna do an off-premises event, and we're gonna show you some cool things that we're gonna launch.
So you see it before the show floor opens the next morning.
Correct. You guys will be the first ones to witness that. And it's something that we have put a lot of time, effort, money, blood, and sweat. And we're hoping to just shift the way things are done in the industries with all the designing and documentation, and just a very different way. Even though things were done with our software till now. So this is like next gen stuff. So we're very excited about that. I cannot give away more than that. You're gonna have to be there.
So you're basically saying that this podcast episode is like 9 weeks away from being already outdated because you're gonna change the industry again.
Yes.
Oh, see, now that's a teaser.
We're gonna make it.
So not only this invite you're going to get, and we're going to get that out. I'm excited about this event. So because I've heard a little bit. Well, I'm helping you plan the thing, so I guess I should know more about it, right? But we won't give all the details. I'm going to let you share that in due course. But food, drink, special, little special, info and preview of stuff you're doing, and then the show floor opens the next morning. You'll have your booth, come by, test it, all that type of stuff, and get some real hands-on there at the booth. So I think that's going to be amazing. What do your opinion? So I always do this. It comes every time I talk Infocom or ISE, I have to do, what's your prediction? What do you think is going to be the big prediction, theme, whatever, from Infocom this year? Not just for you as a booth, but in general.
We're going to see, there's a lot of manufacturers that I've seen from last couple of shows really flipping things around. QSys is going to be interesting to see because, with the new acquisition, Joe stepping away, and Jutton was already doing everything, as we know, but he taking the lead. So QC is going to be interesting. I mean, they have been phenomenal in the last few years, so it'd be interesting to see if they're coming up with something new. Atlas IED has. I used to. John Ivy from the CEO of Atlas, he's a good friend. So we used to talk to him like, you guys have such great products. You guys do good boots, and your locations are always nice. But I think I would want to see more people at your booth. He was like, you're right. And I saw their booth last ISC. It was flooded with people.
Mm-hmm.
It was flooded with people. And I was like, John, what did you guys do? He was like, you know what, man? Nothing all of a sudden. It's little changes that I've been doing, and then we're seeing the result. And that really stuck with me. And I'm just changing gears here. So,
Love it. Love it.
it's not, you can't just flip things around overnight. And it's just the small little things that you do consistently, and then you'll just start seeing results. And then everyone's like, how the hell did that happen? So that kind of stuck with me, and that's what we're trying to implement in our company. So we keep doing. So it's not like we keep all the new things for Infocom, but we just keep doing them throughout the year, and then a lot of it, then we just do it at Infocom. You see the results, all those little things. And then I asked him, well, how did you do it? He was like, well, our every time we do a trade show, I get everyone together, and I ask them, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? How can we improve? And I get everyone's ideas together to implement that on the next show. So these little things, he said, we've been doing for a few years, and then we're here where we are now. And well, anyways, I know that wasn't your question.
No, but I think it's important. I mean, after action reports are, how many times, especially in this world we live in, put so much emphasis into a big show. We'll have our booth, right? There's so much emphasis into pulling it off that then you're like, when the show's over, you're like, oh, I want to be done with it. But being able to take that extra little minute of, hey, where are we after action is, so that we can put the notes in, so when it comes time to do it the next time, we're aware of that and we remember. It's also hard to remember 9 months later when you start thinking of how you can do the next one, right?
Yep.
So I think that's huge lesson.
And then,
I love that.
and then talking about what we could expect at Infocom, we talked about AI. So I think AI is not just for softwares like us, but AI is implemented in hardware as well. And this is hardware dominated industry. And just yesterday, I was so neat. They opened a new experience center in San Jose. So I was there yesterday and saw their products. I was like, holy cow! Their video conferencing systems are just phenomenal, and then they use machine learning and everything. They have so many modes. How the camera detection, and it can differentiate between 2D and 3D objects. And with the microphones integration, the microphones know where you are, where to pick up the sound. It's just phenomenal where everyone's headed with AI. So I think we're gonna see a lot of AI at every booth.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be very trending, I'm sure. That's what I'm hoping to see.
I love it. I love it. Wow, this has been a great conversation. I really, really have enjoyed how we've taken this journey from, the buzzword of AI into how you integrate it, really what it means. Full circle into it. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of it, but it'll be interesting to see how it really works. Prepping and priming for your special event, again, Tuesday night, June 10th. At Infocom, so everybody know that. You'll be able to get some information there. We have the webinar on May 20th. Check below for the link to join that. We'll also see, I'm sure you'll get emails and all that, and you'll see it around, but make sure you join that as a primer, get in the nuts and bolts, some great stuff coming at Infocom. But that being said, I got to do a quick, I always end with a little rapid round, a couple of minutes, really quick question. Oh, go ahead. I see.
I actually have a question for you before we did that.
Uh-oh.
No, it's just,
what did I do
what's
this
your
time?
take on AI?
My take on AI.
In general, it doesn't have to be for the AV industry.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm a huge proponent of it. We're doing some really cool things at UCLA with AI. My team, I can't share it yet because we are under kind of some internal NDAs. But I think in general, um, and I kind of said this earlier, the taking away the menial and leveraging like I love the ability for AI to connect multiple areas and simplify my life, right? Because all the tools are there. Every tool is there, whether it be, from, drafting your email to doing this to doing that. And I think when you pull it all together and say, well, that's the ability AI has to do is work in multiple platforms simultaneously and pull one solution or simplify my life that way. And I think that that's where there's huge opportunities. At UCLA, we have a chief data and AI officer that sits at the top level of our IT organization. We're the first school to do that, and so we've actually been able to make some great partnerships with, leveraging AI. Again, I think it's still early. And what it ends up looking like, right? I mean, I roll my eyes anytime someone tells me they're an AI expert because no one is an AI expert. Sorry. And
Except the guys at Google who get paid $1.5 million a year.
Okay, then yes, there you go. And so but I'm really excited. I think there's huge opportunities in AV, and I'm actually looking forward to sharing some of the things that we are working on in due course. So I might be able to share some of that at InfoComm by then.
Oh
So
wow, that is awesome. So,
yeah,
some people are scared of AI. So I think we should address that concern. So what's your take on that? People who are scared of AI, whether it's
you know,
replacing jobs or whether it's those sci-fi movies, machines taking over humans. See, I
yeah,
know there are people out there
there
who
there
have
there
those
are
concerns.
there are definitely people who think, and I think most of it comes from fear of unknown, right? I don't think many people really think Terminator is going to happen, though it's possible, and we will continue to develop, robots, and we'll be able to continue, and some intelligent bots and things. So that will happen. Like unlikely that it moves into full Terminator, but I think there is a real unknown about how will my job be affected, right? And I think though it's not that AI will not take people's jobs, but the lack of knowing how to leverage AI in your job might make you lose your job, but
Spot on,
not AI, right?
spot on.
It's the same
Yeah,
thing. If I don't know how to use email, no one's going to hire me, right?
true.
It's just the next version of using office tools, right? And so you have to learn how to use it. And those who do learn how to leverage it well will be more primed for the future. That's my opinion.
What about the second bit of it, where people are scared that the machines taking over humans?
Grow up. I mean, wait, did I say that? I mean, come on. I mean, now it might happen. I'm gonna tell you, I do come from the Ryan Gray school of I love AI and I love smart bots. I love all that because if they do take over, I want them to know that I'm on their side. I will Okay, you know what? I am there. I will gladly be there with you. We can take over the world together. That's fine. So just so they know that, you know, I, everything on record is how much I enjoy you, AI and smart technologies. There you go. You know which side I'm on. So, what is your thought on that, though? What is your thought on
I
those?
have very similar thoughts as you. AI is not going to replace you, but your lack of knowledge of leveraging or using AI that might get you in trouble. So I view AI as, people ask one word: AI is good or bad. Like, okay, for the most part, good. But for future, it's the unknown. But I view AI as fire. Fire. Is it good or bad?
Hmm,
It's good if you can control it.
yes,
I view AI.
All right, I'll agree with you. At control is huge. Control, leveraging it, knowing how to use it. Um, Yeah, absolutely. This is fun. I enjoy. See that we should have led with this on the show. Now everyone thought it was over, and that is the best. That's the best rapid round content that we could have got. So I'll put notes for everybody to hang around to the end. Like, don't you think that just because I started talking about, closing up and what's going on in Infocom and the webinar, that there wasn't great content afterwards? Because there definitely was.
Maybe you should title. Maybe you should title your podcast with "What is AI?"
What is AI?
is
And then they
yeah,
have to keep waiting to find out. Will AI
yeah.
take your job? And you just got to keep listening all the way to minute 40, right? All right, well, but I have to ask one rapid round question. We are recording this on Thursday, March 20th, the start of March Madness. You all are listening to this on March 25th or after when it was released. All right, who are you picking to win the tournament? March Madness basketball tournament. Who's winning? What school?
Uh, well, you talking NBA?
No, college.
Oh,
You
I don't
can't.
watch.
You
I
don't
don't watch.
watch college. Okay, the correct
I don't
answer
watch.
is the correct
No.
answer is Duke. Duke. That's the correct answer. Just so
Okay.
you know, Duke.
Okay, Duke. It's Duke. It's Duke.
There you go. All right. Now you brought up NBA. Don't tell me you're a Golden State Warriors fan just because you're a.
Die hard, man. Steph Curry all the way.
Oh Lord, Clippers. Clippers is the correct answer. All right.
Oh,
Last
you're
and final.
biased with our locations.
Well,
Why are you? You're SoCal. You're Clippers. I'm in NorCal. I'm Warriors. So
yeah. Well, I mean, congrats to Steph Curry for the most 3 point, what 3,000, so however 3,000
only
pointers or
4,000.
something,
Only
4,000, something like that.
4,000. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'll give him kudos for that.
What I like about Steph Curry is his consistency. Not that I don't like LeBron or other players that are great. What I like about Steph Curry is he does not have the physical advantage as LeBron, Michael Jordan. Um, very consistent and he's very humble. You should see him on the court. He is one of the most humble, talented, and accomplished players I've ever seen. So I really love that about him. I don't know. That's
Uh,
not the topic of the podcast,
all
but
right, all right. Well, no, that's rapid round has no topic. That's fine. I'm going to disagree with you. No, he's a good guy. Okay, fine. Last and most important question: how do people get a hold of you and learn more about XTEN?
Just go on our website, XTEN-AV.com. Okay, you can book a free demo. Our people through the whole software, and you can just sit back and relax on your comfortable chair. You can also sign up for a free trial. Sign up for a free trial, then book a demo. Totally up to you. You get 15 extendable to 30 days free trial, gives you access to everything in the software. You're gonna love it. If you don't love it, you're doing something wrong. Book a demo.
See, there you go. I like that. You will love it. Sahil, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you everybody for listening. This has been great. Yeah, I can't wait. Make sure again. May 20th is our webinar. June 10th, you're going to attend this event at Infocom for some special announcements. And then, of course, you'll visit them on the show floor. That being said, everyone, all the opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of any of our institutions, companies. Well, it probably is their company, and really anyone who wants to sue us. We hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and make sure that if you didn't enjoy this, there might be better ones next time. Thank you, everybody, for
Thanks, everyone.
attending.